Good morning. This is Dan and with Emily we are Rambling Ambition, and we are working on our 2019 Sprinter van that used to be an Amazon delivery van. And today we're going to be installing our 600 watts of solar panel. If this is something you're interested in, please stick around for the video. If you're new to the channel, we really appreciate you coming by. There's a bunch of videos on kind of our progress on our build so far. And we're getting ready to take a trip down to Texas, and we're finishing up the little details to get us mostly ready to go down. So like I said, if you're interested in looking at how we install our solar panels on our DIY roof rack that we made out of Unistrut, there's a video about that. Please stick around. Let's see what's on the table. So we have 600 watts of solar panels from Rich Solar. Now we went with 24 volt panels simply because they're a little bit more efficient. So on the table we have some MC4 cable. This is to make extensions from the front panel to the rear because the front panel is going to be a little bit further away than the main connection. So we're running these 3 panels in parallel, so they will all get connected. The positives to one tree and the negatives to another tree. And because we're running 3 24 volt solar panels, there are a couple calculators out there. Explorus Life has got a good one. We're going to end up fusing them with a 15 amp fuse, which is what the panel is rated for, at the actual MC4 connector, just like that. The reason for that is because we don't want a panel to run itself out and then disable the rest of the solar array. Since the output voltage is very close in spec based on the calendar or the calculator, we're going to fuse it up top. We also have a couple impact guns to help us put things together. These are Z brackets by Renogy with some Unistrut pieces. And this is what's actually going to hold the panel down. This screws to the panel itself, and then this screws to the roof rack. We have our hardware kit. We have some cutters and some strippers to make the connections. And then we have our MC4 kit, which comes with wrenches to tighten the system up. And then we have a bunch of these extra MC4 connectors. And then, of course, the pieces that come with it. You have to have a special pair of pliers, which are these, which have these jaws that will make the crimp. And that'll allow us to make the cables up and make sure that they're weatherproof and everything else, just in case the connections from the solar panels don't actually make it down to the branch connector. So that's kind of be what we're going to do today. So the first thing first is we got to get the first solar panel out and prep them with the brackets. All right, so we got the brackets on the frame with the stainless steel nut and washer, and then these are the pieces for the Unistrut. Again, this is a Rich Solar 24 volt panel, and that just gives us a higher output from a voltage standpoint to charge the batteries. And you can see here that the max fuse rating is 15 amps. And since with these panels in series, in parallel, it possibly could exceed that. We're fusing each panel at the connector. These are the leads that come from the panel, and then that's the control box that puts everything together. And our next step is to put it up on the van. All right, so when we built this so that these brackets would sit just like that, right in between. Then the cables will come out here, and so this will be our first extension piece back to where it's got to meet over there. So we'll get this fastened down and move on to the cables. All right, so we measured on the top of the van from the first pair of connectors from that front solar panel back to where the branch connector is going to be, and it's 41 inches. So we're going to make that cable up real quick. So we're going to take the cable ends that are already made up. So if you think about these connectors, there's a male and a female that slide together. So the female side actually goes in the male connector, and then the male connector actually goes in, the male piece goes in the female connector. All right, so we strip back about 3/4 of an inch. We're gonna grab our pliers, and they ratchet to give you the proper strength. So there's a 6mm connector, which is the one we are going to be using. It's the big one. And basically what happens is, for these connectors, you stick it in like that, and then you squeeze, and it creates a nice little bump. So this has got the female end on one end, so we're going to put the male end on the other. So like I said, the male end takes the female connector, and what I like to do, as I've learned doing this, is I put the connector in first like that, and just squeeze it down so that it's right at the jaw tension. Feed in the cable, and then when it's crimped in, it's done. And so you get a nice connection. And then this has 3 parts to it. It's got a cap, it's got a receptacle, and then a piece to help keep it watertight. So this goes, cap goes on first, that connection, and then you push that in until it clicks, and that seats that connector inside. Then you feed this in, and screw it tight. And here's where your wrenches come in. So they have a knurled end for the fitting and a T-end for the actual connector itself. And you just do it until it clicks, and then it's done. And that's how you make up a set of cables. All right, the second panel is ready to go up. All right, so I have covered all the panels with a cover to make sure they're not producing anything. It's cloudy today, which is one of the reasons why we chose to do it on this day. But this is the 15 amp fuse. I've already connected the other 2 panels to this, and then this just slides in like that. So we're only fusing the positive side. The negative side, of course, doesn't need a fuse. And I debated whether or not to put these on the outside for ease of servicing, but I want to have them covered by the panel. That way they're not exposed to the elements. So because this is going to be under here, we have to make the connection before. We flip the panel over, and it literally just goes together just like that. So that went down pretty smooth. We'll get it fastened all down, and I think we're in good shape. All right, so all of the 3 panels are up. They're all connected, and super happy with how it all worked out. So the biggest thing was pre-planning the distance of this rack when I built it. I had the solar panels ahead of time. I knew where everything was going to fit. And yeah, I like it. There's an air gap to keep them cool. Because part of the issue with solar panels is they get hot. So you have to try and, because it decreases their efficiency when they get super hot. So having airflow underneath them, I think is a good thing. So the install went pretty well. It took about an hour and a half just to get all the panels up here, get them all fastened down. We used Loctite on all the bolts just to make sure they wouldn't go anywhere. And yeah, so I think it went pretty well. And I'll leave all the tools in the description below in case you guys want to do something similar. So we have solar power now. So now that we had the batteries connected, we got all the wiring in the garage done. All I got to do is do the AC panel up in the cabinet, and then we'll be able to test the power system. So I'm pretty excited about that. So again, hope you guys got something from the video. If you're still watching, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. This is Dan from Ramblin' Ambition, and we have solar panels.